So Belonging Matters started about 10 years ago. It's a very, very small organisation. We have 3 part-time staff to cover the state of Victoria. And really, our aim is to prevent the exclusion of people with disabilities from the community. So when we started 10 years ago, there were some families who had their sons and daughters leaving special developmental school and were a bit displeased with the options available, and they were saying, you know what, I'd really like my son or daughter to have the similar opportunities as my other children. Just because they have a disability, they shouldn't be segregated or excluded from the community. So I must say at that time we really didn't know what we were doing, and we have learned a lot over the 10 years, a lot from people with disabilities and families themselves. So we try and prevent the exclusion of people with disabilities by trying to think about each person, one person at a time, very uniquely. Every human being is unique. None of us are the same. Even if we're twins, we're not the same. We have unique personalities. So to think that people with disabilities all need the same thing, even if, for example, people might have Down syndrome, it doesn't mean that people with Down syndrome all need the same thing. So part of the way we think about people is very, very uniquely. The other thing that we try and do is to embed people in their community. Community for us is a priority. From the day we were born, no one ever thought that we should be excluded, right? Our families didn't say you need something special. We stepped out the door and we were part of community. And I've heard Janet say this before, is just because you breathe, you're actually part of community. So community for us, from our point of view, is not just good for the person with a disability either, it's good for everybody. The other thing that we try and do is help people to think about very typical pathways and opportunities. So when we're assisting people to think about their lives, we would say things like, well, what do other people do to solve this problem? Or what do other people do if they want to get a job? Other people, for example, don't go to a sheltered workshop. They would look for a job that they were interested in, apply and get the support they needed to pursue the job. So any need that someone has, we always look for what the typical response would be for other people, perhaps the same age. The other thing that's important is that people are empowered and get to have say-so over their life. So I don't know about you, but I'm not too happy when other people have say-so over my life. It's important that we get a life that makes sense to us. Now, sometimes a lot of the people that we've worked with haven't been able to express that verbally. But I know a parent that I've known for many years said to me once, I have not yet met a person with a disability who can't communicate. A person that can't communicate, their preferences and likes and the type of people perhaps they'd like to be around. The other important thing is that people have freely given relationships. We see more and more, particularly with schemes and funding, that more and more people are being disconnected from relationship and have their lives filled with paid supports and services to meet their needs, and this creates a disconnection with those people that might come forward freely to love the person. So that's really important to us too. So to do this, we're not actually a service provider as such. We provide information to people. Like we run workshops, we run a conference every 2 years, we run a family retreat every 2 years. We have a number of resources as well. The other piece that we do is that we provide consultation and coaching to people. So Sarah has been doing that for us, And so if people could say, like after today, I really like the sound of that, I think my son or daughter would like to think more about that. Someone could come out, Sarah or someone else could come out and talk to you about what might be possible and coach you through some of the thinking. We don't actually have a criteria for support, so we have never said that someone has too complex a needs. In actual fact, the more complex a person's needs seem to be, the more they need their own thing. I don't know if people have noticed that. It's really important. So the only criteria is that the person would like to get a life that's very typical and intertwined in the community. That's the criteria. Also that they have at least a couple of people around them that could help them to think that through. If you think about our capacity with, like 2.5 staff, it's not much, so we do what we can.